screaming cheers to the real. Good vibes only.
Yes, indeed. We are back. It's another one. I am Mr. Tom Brody. This is the Cheers to the Real podcast, bringing you art, music, culture. Real New York hip-hop will never die, my brother. You know what it is. We are back with another one. We got a new special guest live in the place. Mix Ahead, New York City. Let him introduce yourself to the people.
Yo, what's going on? It's SoSoon, sound of something out of nothing, Queens representative. Happy to be here, Brody. What's good, fam?
Yes, sir. We are back with it, man. Again, appreciate you coming down.
Thanks for having me.
We tried to redo this the first go around. It didn't work, you know. But
everything happens for a reason.
Yeah, but listen, appreciate you. Came down to the pop-up. We had a pop-up in Brooklyn selling the vintage merch, the vintage low, the vintage shit. You know what I mean? I'm glad you came down. But listen, let's give people a little breakdown of, you know, who you are, because, again, the show is designed and dedicated for people like yourself, like me, like otherwise, that, you know, they put the work in, they're out here grinding, they're rocking with the people, and I want to put, you know, I always want to give people the platform and a spotlight that are really putting the work in, like yourself. Absolutely. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, introduce yourself, give people a little breakdown in the bio.
Word. So like I said, I'm from Jamaica, Queens. I've been doing this for over 20 years now. I teach it, I rap it, I perform it, I write it, I record it, I perform.
As it should be, right?
In about, I don't know, like almost 50% of the states in the U.S., couple of countries, about to hit another two outside the country.
You've been busy, brother. I see that.
So, yeah, just moving and really moving with as much intention as possible and definitely always with the passion in mind. So.
Of course. And people that know the show and know the platform know I always bring them artists who are steady busy, that are putting out a lot of content. Before we even get to the content and to the video and to the music, give people a little essence of you know, how we even fall in love with music, how we even fall in love with hip hop.
Right. So for me, the very succinct story is that you know, I always tell folks that I was a sheltered only child growing up in working class Jamaica, Queens. You know, I played ball, but I'm only 5'7", so that wasn't going to go too far. My mom didn't let me like hang out too late during the weekend or the weekend. And so I spent a lot of time in front of the radio playing PS, whatever, like making tapes off the radio, like making my own mixtapes, you know what I'm saying? And then one day I got the desire to actually do it. Like I won a freestyle competition in 8th grade in my private junior high school class, and that pushed me a little bit. Then I wrote my first song in 10th grade for another music class project in high school. Joined a group, my first group in 11th grade, and then just kept doing it from there. So, you know, here we are 20. But I'll say this. I've been actually rapping for like almost 30 years. I'm a lot older than I look. But I call my professional career from 2000 because that was when I started college. So if you do the math, you can guess how old I am.
When we say hip hop, right, and you know, a lot of people, they have that first spark where they fall in love with it. Right. For me, it was probably the dancing and maybe the graffiti and that kind of brought me into it. And then later it was like, all right, music and MCing.
Right.
For you, what was that spark?
So the thing about it is that like I didn't grow up understanding the culture. It wasn't until college. So I was part of the Hip Hop Advocates Club at Hunter College here in New York in Manhattan.
Dope.
And I ultimately became a treasurer. But I learned a lot about the culture while being at Hunter College. But prior to that, I only knew about rap or hip hop, the music. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know about the 4 elements or the 5 elements, pardon me. And so I learned a lot of that in college. But I think the spark hit. It's so hard to say because it could be at any of those moments in the story I just told you. It could have been in 8th grade. It could have been at 10th grade. But I want to say probably the first time I performed, because the first time I performed was in college.
Caught the bug.
And the thing I tell people all the time is that when I went to Hunter, I wanted to be a journalist. And so when I took Intro to Journalism in my sophomore year, and on day one, the professor asked us to define journalism, and, you know, we came up upon a definition of, like, objective storytelling. I realized very quickly the mediums that I was reading and watching at that time were not objective. And I was like, well, fuck it. I can be a hip-hop artist and, like, tell my story my way.
Amen.
And that's my form of journalism. And that was really when it started to kind of, like, click and have that moment of, like, this is something that I want to take very seriously, you know?
Yeah, I think for artists, not everyone is conscious of the spark of
Right.
when they get the bug and say, I think I could do this professionally. Right. What, and to give people, because there's a lot of younger artists that might listen, they may think it's just that easy. They may think like, hey, we got all the apps. I could do this no problem.
Right.
Let people know the labor of love and how intense this really is.
You gotta love this, bro. Like I said, so look, age comes up a lot for me because I'm so young, but I'll just say it. I'm 41, right? So I've been doing this for over half my life. I don't have anything that I can point to besides hip hop that I've had a longer, consistent relationship with.
Same
you know
here. Same here.
And so that's the first part. Like, whatever your definition of success is, then yeah, be very clear about that.
Right.
But it has to start with some sort of passion, because from the passion comes the commitment and then the desire to go. I'm at the age now, right? And I feel like you can relate, Draw. I feel like you can relate. But we're at that age now where we can see where our peers are. Some of them are disconnected, right? Where we was running the streets crazy in our 20s, maybe our 30s. Like, I'm not out and about as much as I used to be as an artist, but I'm still performing, still recording, still making and putting music out.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And just working a lot smarter now.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But I just feel like when I see peers who are super talented, who deserve to be on a pedestal, no different than anybody, myself included, and like folks are just like, yeah, I'm just like living life now. I got a job, I got a family, and and I'm not knocking anybody, but I just say that to say that there has to be some level of commitment if you truly give a fuck about this. You know what I'm saying?
There is that double standard with hip hop. I think kind of piggybacking what you're saying. I think for us as artists with hip hop, when you reach a certain age, you're spoiled goods.
Right. According to the industry.
According to the status quo.
Right.
But if you and I played the cello, would that be the same stigma?
Any other genre of music. Right? But to that point, Tom, I would say that what's beautiful about the time, it's a gift and a curse, right? What's beautiful about the time that we're in right now is that the internet, social media, all these tools that we have access to, no matter how well you know how to utilize them or not, the fact is that, like, it expands our shelf life, right? So the industry will tell us, you're 41, get the fuck out of my face, right?
Right.
But if you know how to find your audience, like, think about the people we was listening to that are still active in our time. Red is putting out verses to industry beats going stupid. Meth is really like heavy on putting out verses, and now he's in his I'm not cursing phase.
I definitely think that there's been a rebirth.
I could go on and on
of those artists. Definitely been a rebirth in those artists' career. There's definitely been a resurgence of what was old is new again.
Right.
Whether we're talking about the polo culture or we're talking about a lot of artists that they passed away and magically their music is now being appreciated. But yet they were killing it in 88 and 90 and 94 and 95, but they weren't appreciated, That's the, like you say, the gift and the curse of hip hop. I think artists aren't appreciated for what they do because it's a money machine.
Right. Absolutely. And for me, look, I don't run around fronting like something that's not, right? I do performances. I get paid for some of them. For others, I don't.
Right.
I make money on merch sometimes. Sometimes I don't.
Right.
I get paid to teach it.
And I've seen that a topic where you basically said to the audience and the mass, like, to be paid or not to be paid as an artist, that balance. Because I can tell you, not every show that I rocked, I got paid.
Right.
And I think most artists will validate that.
Absolutely.
Does not mean you shouldn't be motivated.
Absolutely.
To put your face out there.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So I wanted to get into some current music. I want to give the audience and everybody tuning in some visuals. I'm big on presenting visuals on the show because, listen, I'm a firm believer of let me see it, let me smell it, let me get the visual taste test of it.
Right.
Like I said, you're busy, you're productive, you're super talented. I think you're in a lane all your own, and I kind of wanted to showcase the people what we got going here. Now, as we go, like I said, you could just add some captions to it, and we'll rock and roll. Let's play, Dave. Yep. So this particular song, you want to give people a little breakdown on it?
Yeah, this joint, pardon me, this joint is called Sit With It. It was a single off of my 7th studio project called Involuntary Immigrant, entirely produced by a brother named Mike L.
Mike L.
This project was a very personal project, very like black consciousness,
nice.
And just kind of like life music, I like to call it. It was an arduous process writing about some of the topics on this, but you know, we got through it. And yeah, we shot this video over by Astor Place. So yeah. Important to point out that this song actually got placed in a documentary that was on the Starz Network a few years ago. It was a documentary called, oh my God, I'm forgetting the name of it, but it was about the Eric Gardner story. So I actually so originally I already had the song written, and then the filmmaker came to me and said, I want some music for the closing credits. And so I added a third verse to it. This version of this, with the video, is only 2 verses, but at the end of the album, there's a third verse that's specifically written for, you know, that,
like the outfit.
That documentary. Thank you. You know, we try to keep it fly, so.
Yeah, man. There's something to be said about originality, man.
Yeah, man. I mean, but that's what hip hop has always been about,
it should
right?
be, right?
Like,
it should be about that. Yeah, man.
That's what it's always been about. Like, I think that, I don't know what came first, the mindset or the access to hip hop, but for me, it's always been about like this combination between like blending in and standing out, right? So it's a little bit of both. Like there's a essence to what it means to be hip hop and how you dress, how you talk, how you rap,
right?
You know what I'm saying? And I'm not necessarily trying to be so out there that like people can't understand what the fuck I'm saying or doing.
And that's the beauty of where we are musically. Is maybe 15 years ago the outfit would have been like, they would have shamed you with the outfit. Like,
I wouldn't have felt comfortable wearing this 15 years ago. I'm
right.
This version of myself,
right.
I'll do whatever the fuck I want.
Correct.
With you know, some exceptions, and I'm not worried about what people going to say to me. You know what I'm saying?
Which is why I love the whole black hippie movement, the whole black punk movement.
Right.
Love it.
Absolutely. So yeah, shout out to the folks. This video was shot as part of an interview, actually, and so it was part of a package deal where they interviewed artists, and I say package, and people gonna think that I paid for it, but no, they sought me out.
Right.
And yeah, they were like, yeah, we do the interview and we'll shoot a music video for you. So shout out to
why not
that.
Consistency. And again, I picked content that I kind of like personally in no particular order. I figured I would curate the content, bring the people some visuals and things that I think are dope.
Word.
Do you work with the same? What's your format creatively? How do you pick beats? How do you pick out who you're working with?
That's a great question. I get a lot of just like I have a lot of producers after doing this for so long, and folks hit me up that are like, I want to work on a song, I want to work on a project, so on and so forth. So I had known Mike L for about a decade prior to us working on that project. We had a song that we didn't drop, and then we like lost touch for a while, and then ran into each other at a concert, and then circled back, and then we decided to put out this project. So that's how that happened.
Yeah, I like this joint too. You want to introduce this joint?
Yeah, this joint's called So Envious. Shouts to Envy, he representing from BX, it's Queens BX situation. The producer on this one is King Virtue, who's my cousin. So he's relevant to my hip hop story because he's the person who told me when I was in my teens that like basketball wasn't a realistic dream.
Yo, shout out to the fam.
And he kept it real, and it hurt at that time.
This goes back to what we said off camera. You need people around you
to be very real.
You need people around you to be brutally honest.
Right.
So if you have a friend who's keeping it brutally honest with you, respect that man and buy him a brewski.
And I'll also add that he was also one of the first people that I actually let hear my shit when I was first rapping or whatever, and he gave me an honest opinion then and thought it was really real, and that was like when you get that affirmation.
Of course.
You know what I'm saying?
Especially from someone that you respect.
Right. It's like my big bro. I call he's cousin, but he's like uncle, big bro, and cousin all in one.
Yep.
And so that affirmation was really important. So that was so like going back to your first question, like what was the spark? There was many sparks. You know what I'm saying? And him being like, yo, you got something.
You got it.
So fast forward, like we had lost touch for a while, because he had managed me, and then that didn't work out. We lost touch. We got reconnected during the pandemic, and so we've been working together a lot since then or whatever. So he produced this beat.
Joint, let's play this.
the dude Envy, who's on a record with me, we met at a showcase at the Delancey.
Delancey's a dope spot.
Good spot.
Dope venue.
Good spot. If you can't call yourself an MC in New York if you've not performed. There's like certain spots that like if you've not performed there and you're of a certain generation, I don't know if you can say you're an MC.
Yeah.
And that's one of them. So we met at a showcase. He's good energy, you know, whatever. He actually was the one who wanted to shoot the video for this record. So yeah, I enjoyed this. I enjoyed doing this record with him a lot. The dude who...
Yeah, there's another one I picked because I like the energy on it. I actually like the loop too.
Yeah. I know a couple of people have used this loop, but I like how this came out. It was like he produced it. Like I pride myself in producing and like not like beat making, but producing in terms of idea formulation, song format, all those kind of things. You know, whatever. But this was all. He was like, yo, let's come like dressed up and shit. He was the one who
got another nice
to the
fit in this one.
Yeah, you know, so the fashion is like how I keep my grandmother's memory alive. She passed away in 2005, and she was a very fashionable person. You see the bangles. You know, folks seeing the interview live in the studio. You can't see my bangles off camera unless it's on the wide shot. But a lot of these are my grandmother's.
I think that's another thing I appreciate about your originality is that you're bringing you as opposed to what's relevant now.
Right.
And we need that. We need more individuals and more real soloists, so to speak.
Absolutely, I appreciate that, bro. I appreciate that. But yeah, this record was fun to make, and like the video came out. I remember it being cold as
He's killing it, by the way,
day.
too.
Yeah, MB did his thing on it.
His bars are ill. His shoe game is on point.
Did his thing. He said dress up. He came with the shoes on. I was just, I don't wear shoes unless I absolutely got to. You know what I'm saying? I don't mind them, but I don't wear them anymore unless I absolutely have to. But you see, I got the ascot on. Yeah, them shits. That's the mafioso joints right there.
Those are official.
This, like I said, shooting this video is dope. Like we chose one location, and then
Hey, isn't that the beauty of it though? Like me coming up, you know, I was on a lot of different labels, bro. But me coming up just to get a video done was pulling teeth, bro.
Right.
You know, and people that know me, they know the pain. Whereas if now I can appreciate where you could grab your iPhone,
right,
and a few of your friends,
and I did it. I did
it
a lot
done,
during the
man.
pandemic. Absolutely. So
how did you manage to stay relevant during the pandemic?
The timing worked out where a job that I was working right before the pandemic, they let me go on severance for like 3 months. Because they wanted to move the salary towards, you know, something like just changing.
Lucky,
so that worked out, and so I caught unemployment, and then the pandemic hit. So he was getting that money, whatever. And I was doing like odd jobs here and there. But the point is that gave me a lot of time to create. So I was putting out so much music during the pandemic, recording my own videos, editing them, because the job I was working at that let me go was an organization that taught filmmaking to young people.
Say word.
And so I learned how to, like, some of the basic tenets of filmmaking. So that
shout
helped a
out
lot.
to everyone during the pandemic that managed to get a step ahead, get a degree, get some sort of education.
Right.
They kind of put that time into something and they maximized.
Absolutely.
They didn't just sit on their backside and burn the time.
Absolutely.
Because the older you get, you realize time has the most value.
Exactly.
I'm getting there too. I'm up there in age, and I realize, time. That got maximum value,
a more important
bro. You gotta
asset
maximize the time
than anything else. Absolutely.
So another thing I wanted to highlight to the audience is your show performances. You've been super relevant with that.
Absolutely.
There's plenty of talented artists who, for whatever reason, don't do good shows.
Right.
I'll go to their show.
I can tell you why. I can tell you why.
By all means.
I've been having a lot of these conversations lately where, like, when you think about hip hop, like rapping, not the culture, but just like rap, right? The oral art form, the oral component of hip hop culture. There's so many avenues. There's battle rap. Mm-hmm. There's freestyle.
Yep.
Right. Not like what they call freestyle now, like actual off the top of the head in real time freestyle, right? Freestyle. There's like dudes who are not necessarily battle rappers, but they just love spitting bars. They love analyzing bars. They love spitting bars. They love putting out their shit so people can hear every nuance of what they say. Right. Mm-hmm. You have the performers, and then you have people who can do a little bit of a lot of those components. And I'm sure I'm missing a lot. Songwriters. Mm-hmm. And so my two things that I started to hone in on the more I was doing this was songwriting and performance. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like some people don't like. So I feel like freestylers look at the other, not all the time, but often they look at the other genres as like, or the other components like, but we off the top and we nice. The battle rappers, they looking at everybody else like they frowning down on everybody like, you can't do what we do, right?
Battle rap is the only thing that I could probably do it because I got the wordplay to do it. But I've always said there's that tier of battle rap. They're cut from a different cloth.
Right. They absolutely are.
Different cloth. And I always found it amazing that, like, regardless of who they are, they have the talent, but for some reason can't write a great song.
Exactly.
But I've learned. Listen, and I say this respectfully when they hear this. This is respectfully. I myself cannot write a universal pop song.
Right.
I start getting into the lyrical. Oh, wait, hold on. Let's scratch the word lyrical out.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, whoa. But
people even sleep on that. Yeah. The idea of being able to write a song that can actually impact a lot of people. Like the lyricists often look down on that.
It's frowned upon for some reason. As if getting money from your craft is a dirty game. We know that. But listen, if there's a talent, there's something to be said if you can have an idea that's a universal idea to the mass.
Absolutely.
That's hard, man.
And I think the hardest part for MCs like that are like bars folks, like I was gonna say bars men, but I want to respect women as well. So bars people is telling them like the dense lyrics, you gotta like pull back from that. You gotta be able to pull back because some people want to analyze that, but that's like Jedi's talking to Jedi's, as my homeboy Tony Dimes would say. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Sometimes you want to be able to put something out that everybody or a lot larger audience can actually
I agree
consume
with you.
and actually pick up on it.
Funny,
you know what I'm saying?
Funny true story before we get into the next clip, but funny true story. I was on a label. DJ Shock pulls me to the side one day. He's with Rough Riders. They're in the next studio. They pull me to the side. Brody, you're wild talented. He said, but just remember, everybody's not taking this shit as serious as you. They're not into this wordplay shit. Just come up with a great song that the women want to drink to, that the dudes want to party to, and everything is good money. And there is the line between being a hobbyist and a professional.
So real.
You know what I mean?
So real.
You have to really analyze. Are you a professional at this?
Right.
Or are you just a hobbyist?
Right. It's so funny because I feel like, think about it. Hip hop is 50 years old, right? And I feel like those of us who are from our generation, we didn't just come up on hip hop. We was listening to whatever our parents was listening to, jazz, R&B, gospel, whatever it was, salsa, merengue, whatever it was, right? But then we forget how those songs that we were raised on it evoked emotional reaction, right? Like I feel like lyricists oftentimes want people to give people the wow factor, and I'm not knocking that, but I feel like they forget the emotional value.
Listen, if it ain't got emotion, you know what I mean? Gotta have that passion.
You know what I'm saying? So,
what's this next one we're getting into?
This is my shit talking like rapidy rap. Funny you pulled this one up.
Yeah, this is dope.
A record called Grind Season. So the record had been written like a very long time ago, but I just put it out on a project about 2 years ago.
Dope.
Sony Volume 3. Sony,
Dope.
which is an acronym for Sound of New York. So this is a live performance. I forget where we was, but we was opening for CL Smooth either last fall or the fall before.
Yeah, it's a CL Smooth event.
Yeah.
Shout out to CL Smooth.
Shout out to
so
CL
underrated.
Smooth. Absolutely.
So underappreciated.
Absolutely.
Talking about 50 years of hip hop. Why is your name not being mentioned?
Right.
Come on.
So many people whose names weren't mentioned, but yeah. Shout out to my homeboy Tony Dimes.
Yep.
Who's right there with me. So him and my cousin King Virtue, who produced the last record, So Envious, they went to college together. They used to go freestyling all over New York. They both from Long Island, lived in Long Island.
Yep.
Tony Dimes is an electrician by trade, but he is a hip hop head.
Yeah, man.
He is a hip hop head. Like, he knows more about hip hop than I do. You know what I'm saying? During the pandemic, he started actually writing raps, but he also used to host events like bar mitzvahs, parties, and shit like that, like professional event hosting. And so he's a natural on stage. So we gel like very easily. So
no, you can see good energy.
Yeah. That's my bro. So we got a show later on tonight. Looking forward to that.
You ever had a bad show?
Of course. 24 years doing this. You think I
had a bad
Of course. I've had shows where when I was bringing the CD to the DJ and the CD was scratched, so the music couldn't play. I've had that happen a lot of times, so I've learned how to perform a cappella really well as a result of that. I've had shows where I just didn't choose the right songs to perform for the right audience. So I tell people all the time, performing is not just about like being on stage and having a presence on stage. It's also about having a sense of what audience is there and what songs are going to work best for that audience.
Right.
It's knowing how to be engaging. There's so many components to performing other than just going up there and reciting your lyrics.
As long as you don't fall off the stage.
Never fallen off a stage.
You don't rip the microphone.
I've never fallen off a stage. I've never ripped or broke a microphone.
Those are the
nothing
two
like
no-nos.
that.
Once
Absolutely.
you do that, it's like it's hard to come back after that.
Right. Absolutely. So, yeah, for sure.
What's this next one?
This is me performing in Paris. And
Nice.
so I have some peoples out in Paris. They were doing a competition.
Big hip-hop scene in Paris.
Oh,
For those that don't know.
Absolutely.
It's almost like 90s hip-hop 5.0.
In Europe and a lot of different countries in
man.
Europe in general. So I was fortunate to be able to be in Paris. My peoples in Paris, they were doing a competition called Mayor of My City. And it was teaching young people in the hood like social justice and civic engagement. And so they got to learn those things, and then by the end, they wrote 16-bar verses to answer the question, what would I do if I was mayor of my city? So I was at a job a few years ago where we reverse engineered the competition. We brought winners from New York to Paris. And so we had 2 winners. My mom's came out, my girl came out, my stepfather came out. And we was just in Paris for like 4 or 5 days. And they booked this show for myself and the 2 winners to be able to perform at. So it was like a club.
Right.
Like, got I think one young guy was 19 at the time. His parents and his siblings was there with him. And then my other young guy was early 20s at the time. And
got to go to Paris.
Yeah,
why
we
not?
got not only go, but perform. That was a huge deal. So, yeah, you go and see
Now,
it.
mind you, the crowd looks into it. I love it.
It was tough because it was hard to read them.
The crowd looks into it. Because as an artist, I'll be honest with you. When the crowd looks dead, and this is even me professionally, right? When I do public speaking and the audience is not into it,
right?
Eventually, 15 minutes into it, I'm not into it. And I'm thinking about the back door. I'm just thinking about I can't wait to get out of here, another cup of coffee, and blow. Whereas if professionally, when you see this and you see the crowd is into it, bro, that's another spark. You like, oh, hold up.
I think the hard thing,
Dave, you can play it.
I think the hard thing as a performer is sometimes it's hard to read the room, especially when you're performing in a room full of people who don't know you.
Who don't know you.
You know what I'm saying? So I just try to give it 100% all the time. So
yeah, man.
But yeah, this was a lot of fun. This was camera phone footage, so it's a little blurry.
Nah. But I was bugging that it was that packed. I'm like, oh, a vibe. Shit, this shit is packed.
It was a vibe, just being able to because my thing is like whenever I travel, whether it's out of the state or out of the country, I'm trying to see what hip hop is like wherever I
Lonnie
go.
Look all right there. Hold up. I peeped it.
It was definitely a vibe. It was some just really dope humans in there. The women was gorgeous in there, and shout out to my girl.
Yup.
She was in there with me, but I'm just being honest.
Yeah,
so I think she's behind me over my shoulder. I see her curly hair. I'm pretty sure that's her. I took her shoe off and put it on the couch. I was just y'all niggas gonna pay attention to me, bro. Y'all gonna pay. I didn't come across the water for y'all to just treat me like some random ass nigga. You know what I'm saying? So,
I've only been once. Between
that was my one and only.
Yeah, I've only been once, but good energy, good vibe.
Yeah, it was great.
Same thing with Amsterdam, good vibes.
So I was in Europe for 30 days on this trip, and the first half of the trip was Amsterdam because I did a study abroad. And while I was out there, I performed at a open mic in like the main area of Amsterdam or whatever. Shouts to
it's a night, I ain't gonna lie to you, son. It's a packed event,
it was packed,
son.
bro. It was packed,
event.
elbow to elbow. It was packed in there. Hookah smoke. It was a good vibe. It was a good vibe. So, but yeah, I just had a lot. It's funny because I remember it and I feel like I had some trouble getting some people's attention, but now I'm looking at I see what you mean.
They into it.
They were paying attention. Wow.
When I first saw it, briefly, I'm not even gonna hold you. When I first saw it, I thought you were crowd surfing. I said, oh shit.
I haven't done that. I've never done that. I've not had the.
My guy went to Paris and he crowd surfed.
We're not there yet.
I said, damn.
If I get there, I'm calling you on my phone while on the crowd surf, bro.
Yo, call me. I'm the guy. What happened? Listen.
Yeah, nah, this was a lot of fun. It was a pleasure and honor. And see, that's the thing. Like, so technically I did not get paid for this performance, but I was there for work, so I was getting paid my whatever hourly rate was to be doing this or whatever. And it goes back to what we were talking about earlier. Like, if you're passionate about it, you'll have those opportunities. And sometimes, like, the money is not the opportunity. The success is not the money. Sometimes it's the people you meet. Sometimes it's the experiences you have.
It's the journey.
Bro, how many people can say they performed in Paris? And I'm not saying it's gloating. I'm saying it's,
no.
I feel humbled
10%,
and privileged to say that I was able to do that. You know what I'm saying? I don't take that for granted. You know?
That's a fact.
Some of our peers, people we know personally and people we look up to, do this regularly.
Bro,
and bless their hearts. But
I have a
that's
lot
not my experience.
of people that hit me and they're like, Brody, can you please set something up for me in New York? And I'm like, bro, you better get a buzz first.
Real talk.
We're going to come see you, my guy.
Right. So real. But yeah, nah, this was amazing. This was amazing. Oh, I see my stepfather in the back. Yeah, just throw out.
Something to be said about all that, man.
Yeah.
Fucking the grind, the labor, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Dave, we have one or two other clips that we wanted to just play as far as newsworthy and stuff that we wanted to talk about. So before we play it, how do you feel just in general? Yeah, you kind of know where this is gonna go, right?
I saw this. I know. Yeah.
Don't play it yet. So artists, we're going into the new into the future as an artist, right? We're gonna have holograms. You know, artists are even debating about how we could copyright our faces.
Right.
Where and how do you feel about streaming platforms? What's your relationship with streaming platforms? Do you have a pro-con kind of thing? I could tell you how I feel personally. I feel a little jaded, but that's not here or there. You know,
I want to hear how you feel, and I want to hear how Dro feels about this as well, because you know, I don't run around acting like I know everything, and that my opinion is the end all that is all. Got you. But I will say this, right? It's I'm generally very gray area with most things, right? So the advantage of streaming is that it's easy access to your fan base,
for sure,
and you don't want to put them through too much bells and hoops, to get to the music, right? Mm-hmm. The challenging part, especially with Spotify changing the model, and we can assume that the other platforms will follow suit at some point in the near future. So Spotify, for those who don't know, they changed the model as of this year, where you have to have 1,000 streams on your song before it will start generating income. And the income already is shitty. It's like I think with Spotify in particular, which has one of the lowest payouts of the streaming platforms.
It's shitty.
It's like 0.0013 last I checked.
Something real shitty.
It's ridiculous. And so I didn't watch this, but I saw the caption weeks ago, and I was like, oh yeah, I understand, because we like if a generational talent is complaining about not getting money off of streaming the way they deserve, we have a problem, right? So I can't say I have the solutions, but the thing that I'm being more cognizant of going into my next project that's in mix right now and everything after is that, and I've seen artists do this successfully, so I'm kind of like, I'm not like leading the march on this, I'm just following suit of what I'm seeing, is I am going to use like a platform like Bandcamp, if not Bandcamp, which I have all my music on right now, but a platform like it, to like do the initial release and give it a month, maybe 2 months, and really take my time pushing it and really dig in and let my fans know who actually give a fuck and understand why it's important to put money in artists' pockets. Let them get it. Get the merch around it, whatever, and then put it on streaming for everybody else who's not willing. And I'm not, my whole thing, and this is the final point I'll say about this. The one thing that I appreciate about like who I am and how I've approached the music is that I don't get mad at my friends, my close people, my fans, if they don't come to every show, if they don't read, if they don't like, comment on every post, if they don't listen to every song, if they don't, whatever. It's like, this is what it is.
Yeah.
My job is to make the art, put it out,
My
make
job
sure
is to be
you
an
know
artist.
it's out, And it's to promote it as well. I don't have anybody doing that for me. So the promotion is part of the job. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to be offended if you don't take the time.
Amen.
Because I understand.
My brother,
that
well said. No, well said.
I understand
That's
that not everybody is like we're conditioned to like, you know, oh, if this is popping, then we're going to pay attention to it, right?
Yeah.
And it could be your closest loved ones. And you'll still be like, oh, you put something out? Cool. But then somebody popular put something out and you run into that. That's cool. It's a conditioning.
It is conditioning.
And I try to give a little bit of education without being overbearing to show folks like.
With this to go 360 with everyone, and Dro, you know, you could give your chime in that if you built your own foundation, it's no different to a house, right? So people, if you're listening, you got to dig it like this. You're not going to build a house without good foundation.
Right.
And if you're an artist out here and you're putting the time and the energy and the money, regardless of the LLCs and all this other stuff, like you got to know that there's a fan base out there that like your content.
You got to
so
find
even
them.
if you stop streaming on these platforms, you want to know without a shadow of a doubt, I could book my own venue. 75 people gonna come, no problem. I can sell a few hats, a few T-shirts. I'm self-sufficient. I can micromanage by myself. I have a love-hate relationship with streaming platforms because I feel that if you are untalented but you have the resources, you can circumvent the steps. Right. You could go from 1 to 5 without putting in the due diligence. But I've grown accustomed as a 90s guy on all these different labels. And you burn bridges, you get burnt, you pop the trunk, you sell CDs at Myrtle Beach, at South Beach, at fucking Coney Island, and you learn, wait a minute, if I create it, they'll come because I'm building the movement. You know what I mean? Joe, how do you feel about and those tuning in? I do have another special guest on the next episode, but Joe, just how you feel about streaming platforms?
You've been in the game for a minute.
I was just giving you the respect you deserve.
No.
It's a dope interview. So I'm vibing out.
Yeah, man.
Streaming, to sum it up real quick, I hate it. I despise it. I don't think I will ever like it. However, and why, to touch it real quick, why do I hate all the above is because it's a slap in the face to all of us artists. That put the time, put the work in. The underline is possess talent. Because you hit, you know, like this brother right here say, you know, he a lifetime into this shit. As I am, as you are. And it start with fans. If we not fans first, we can't be an artist.
Absolutely.
Amen.
You know what I mean? And we're still a fan. That's why, I didn't want to chime in on. I'm vibing. I'm listening.
I got you.
Y'all talking, but.
So I wanted to give everyone a breakdown of the context of what this is.
But this is what I just need to say one thing, and then it's right back to him.
Nah, you good, bro.
That's why I dislike it, but there's a hump that we have to get over as artists because it's a selfishness for me not to put my music on streaming platforms, right? Because now I know I'm an underground artist, you know, 90s-ish. That shit, it's not over here. It's not over there. It's not over there.
Right.
Overseas buys it the most. Now, for the people that don't really know, a CD may be $15 physical, but for somebody that live in the UK or Australia or whatever, they may be paying $23 to get that $15 CD shipped. Now add that on to the 15. You dig? This is for the listeners.
Supply and demand. Supply and demand.
So as much as I don't want my music on there because I don't want to get slapped in the face with numerous bits
we're
of
on the
disrespect,
same boat, brother. Yeah.
I feel I'm still wrong to shit on my Australian fans, whether I got 2 or 2 million.
You ain't lying, bro.
And Japan and Africa, and that's why I put my shit on there. It's not about money. It's about love. Back to my brother over there.
Yeah. No, well said. Well said.
That's it. You know what I mean?
I do. So with that being said, I do want to share something that our beloved Snoop Dogg kind of mentioned, and we'll go into this video clip. Dave, just play the video clip real quick regarding streaming platforms. This is something relevant for all artists.
From that perspective, I think we're well positioned. You know, with my history at Apple, our ability to plug into physical in the way that we can now, like no other company.
So it's basically Snoop Dogg's comments
exactly
regarding streaming platforms.
Streaming in the United States, streaming globally,
And
It's
Snoop
an
is
exciting
very
time.
relevant
Really it is,
online.
I must say.
Absolutely.
It's exciting, but streaming got to get their shit together. Cause I don't understand how the fuck you get paid off of that shit.
Like, let's
I
call
mean,
it
can
a
somebody
spade.
Right.
explain to me how you can get 1 billion streams and not get $1 million? Like,
Y'all know
that
the
shit don't
answer
make
though,
sense.
right?
the crowd?
But
Like, I don't know who
But-
the fuck running the streaming industry, if you in here or not.
I know the
Oh
answer,
yeah.
Brody.
Oh yeah.
Cause slavery
But
never
nigga, you need to give us
died.
some
Right.
information on how the fuck
Right.
to track this money down. Cause 1 + 1 ain't adding up to 2. That shit don't add up, and I have to say it. Because that's the main
Amen.
gripe with a lot of us artists is that we do major numbers with streams and this shit, but it don't add up to the money.
Right.
Like, what the fuck is the money? When
Well,
I first
all
came
three
out,
of us said
my
right.
records
Yep.
was selling
Right.
based off of physical.
Like,
You sell 1 million copies, that means
Too
if
real.
$9.99, $9 million, you get this percentage, that's what it is.
Yeah.
So if I sell how many streams, how much money do I get? It's not being translated and it's not working for the artist right now. And I just want to speak to that. In the
Aight.
music
Real talk.
industry, like, that's fucked up.
Aight.
And we need to find a way
Good
to
looking,
figure that out. The same way the
Put a little
writers are
spotlight
figuring
on the
out-
problem.
The
Right.
writers are striking because streaming.
Uncle
They
Snoop.
can't get paid. Because when it's on the platform, it's not like in the box office. In the box office, if it does all these numbers, you may get an up. Oh, it did this many, here's another check. But on streaming, you
You
got
know, a lot of
300,000
people forget.
hours.
A lot of
And
people
somebody
buy
watched the
shit.
movie. Where's the money?
They buy streams.
And I know I'm going off
Right.
on
Those
right
bought
Streaming
streams,
farms. Yep.
they not adding no cents
This is
though.
Nah.
Even
You know
if
what
it's
I'm saying?
point
This is a room
oh,
full of business
whatever
people,
you're
and somebody
buying
may
is
hear
not
this
bringing you in
and be able
nothing.
to do
Right.
some of
Your
it. So that way the
organics
next
are bringing. I
artist
mean,
don't
we
have to
ain't buying
struggle or
shit with it,
cry
Right.
but the
trying to figure out
organic
how to get to
streams
his
are
money.
bringing us some
Because some of
type
these
of
artists are
fractions of
streaming
pennies.
millions and
Right.
millions
Them
and
bought
millions and millions
views
of
or
fucking
bought
streams,
playlists,
Yep.
they
and
ain't
don't
getting
got
you
no
nothing
millions of
in.
dollars
Yep.
in their
You know what I
pocket.
mean?
So
I give
just
him
wanted to
credit
say
for
that.
bringing this up.
Me too.
Listen, and
Me too, 'cause
prior,
you're a GOAT.
I was even talking about how Snoop was one of the first hip hop artists to buy in the whole virtual meta world.
Crypto and all that. Yeah.
One of the very first artists
Yeah.
that was buying in the meta, and I'm
Yep.
like, what is he buying? He's buying land in the meta. I'm like, oh, so he's plotting on not today. He's plotting on like legacy money.
Absolutely. He's got good people in his ears for sure.
And that there's something to be said with black and brown people. We live for today. We don't live for the
Oh,
legacy.
man. That's true.
We don't live legacy
That's
money.
so
You
true.
know what I mean? Like
Yep.
we're not taught that. We're not taught the how to micromanage our taxes and health, and you're not taught that. You know what I mean?
Too true.
I think I have one more clip that we could pull up, Dave, to kind of run down real quick. This is before we get out of here. I usually ask artists, what's your top 5 favorite? What's your top 10 favorite? And I started, don't even play it yet, Dave. I started getting to a point where either we all have the same top 10 minus a few here and
Right,
there. You know what I
right.
mean? But people are in their box. They listen to who they're going to listen to.
Right.
You're not changing nobody's mind.
Right.
But albums that are relevant to the culture is a different story because
Wow.
there's a lot of albums that a lot of people probably didn't soak in that are worth soaking in.
Right.
You know
Absolutely.
what I mean? So this is a list that I guess I'll get some feedback from you, and you let me know whether you listen to it, you like it, don't like it.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And if you fuck with it. So it's the top 10 most important albums in hip hop history.
Wow.
That's a strong statement.
Wow, it is.
Right? That's a strong statement. So you let me
Absolutely.
know. We'll blast off whether you agree, don't agree, and this will be the last.
This is a
clip of the
13-minute
interview.
video. Is there a rundown of it?
No, but what I
Good observations.
oh, so fuck it. But with that being said, regardless of the video, any particular album that you think
That's relevant to the culture.
that kind of I would beyond that, I would say maybe that changed either your perspective of hip hop that you find noteworthy, that you kind of hold
this is-
dear to your heart.
Yeah, this is easy because nobody ever says this. Many Faces by Tracy Lee.
Wow.
And I have the privilege
Wow.
to I have Tracy Lee on the gram. I've interacted with him on numerous occasions at this point. He's a good dude. But for me personally, right? So as a hip hop artist, I realized at a very early stage that I wanted to represent a certain level of diversity in my craft and what I talk about in my music, right? And then as I got older and started understanding like my socioeconomic status and realized, you know, I was raised kind of like working middle class, but probably more so working class leaning. What does that mean to be in New York, one of the most revered cities in the entire world, right? And to be black in New York, you know? And so I was like, oh, this allows me the privilege to talk about a lot of different things. So I can go far extreme black consciousness and far extreme we in a club doing it, because I've done both. I've lived both experiences, and I don't need hyperbole to like talk about, you know, I can add color to it, but I don't need it because I can talk from lived experience. Right. But when I heard Many Faces, I saw a level of versatility in that project that I hadn't seen previously. Everybody was very easily.
I wasn't expecting you to say that. That's
easily
a gem.
Put folks into a certain kind of like almost like subgenre hip hop, like hood, commercial, right? You know, whatever, conscious, whatever. And I had never heard that kind of creativity on one project, especially to be a debut project.
Some people probably don't even know who you're talking about.
Right. I know. He deals with it all the time, but no, I have a lot of respect for Tracy Lee. That album was crazy. Because he's basically like, just to give some context to it, he's talking from like multiple personalities. He has like 4 or 5 different personalities that are reflected throughout the album. And by the end, the last song on the album is called Who Shot the LR? And it's all these personalities coming together on some like Clue, like the board game Clue, like who did it type story. It was like the fucking album is amazing.
He did a few tracks for like legendary
so he had
artists, right?
Keep Your Hands High with Big. That's a whole controversial thing about who got off. He got the remix to the theme with Busta Rhymes. Who Busta Rhymes is actually my favorite artist. Not the best, but my favorite, right? And those are 2 different conversations. But Busta Rhymes is my
Busta's on my
all
top
the time.
5, and they be like
all the time.
Real talk. I'm like, yeah.
But see, the problem is that people don't know how to differentiate their favorites from, like, I would not have Busta Rhymes in a conversation as top 5 all-time MCs, but would I have him in a conversation top 5 like performers, top 5 possibly hip-hop songwriters? Absolutely.
One of my top 5 favorite MCs, Black Thought.
In mine as well. Without a doubt. He just did a book signing for his new book, Upcycle Self, at Columbia. It was the day of my 41st birthday, so I was out there.
Yeah, man.
But he's definitely in my top 5 for sure.
So before we get out of here, I got one more question for you, and then we're gonna do this little outro. One more, I guess, controversial question. In the sense of race relations in hip hop, do you feel hip hop has helped race relations? Has it hurt race relations? Are we better off? Are we worse off? Where are we? Especially here in the East Coast and New York, the temperature's a little different than out west or Midwest. Different climate, different vibe. I think we're a little more progressive here in New York.
Absolutely.
A little more diverse. It's a melting pot. But just in general, race relations, hip hop, where do we stand with that?
I think that's a layered question, because beyond just white folks, other folks that are not like black and Latinx, I mean, we understand that white folks were there during the creation of hip hop culture. They were bombing, they were breaking, they were DJing, and they were MCing. Not as much early on, but it existed, right? But primarily, this culture was founded and built by black and Latinx folks, right? Let's make sure we clearly understand that, right?
Big facts.
I'm gray area on that as well, right? Because so many of the fan base, particularly for artists who have large like commercial fan bases, you go to a concert, 9 times out of 10, the majority of audience is going to be white, right?
Absolutely.
Does that mean that they understand what their entry point should be into hip hop? No, it doesn't mean that. And if they don't have people around them that should explain to them the do's and don'ts of how you enter this culture and how you appreciate this culture, but there's only but so much we can control when it comes to stuff like that, right?
I've been a big believer that I thought and still believe, because I'm coming from the 80s, South Brooklyn, Bensonhurst, the mob, Yusef Hawkins. Like, I've seen all this go down, right? So I'm coming from a place of that. In my mind, I think race relations are better now than what they were.
Right, understood.
And I'm a firm believer that when I see black and brown kids pushing a skateboard in the middle of Brownsville,
indeed,
I know that times are different.
That's a good point.
Because when I was on a skateboard, pushing,
They just try to fuck
you know,
up.
dreads with
Right.
a Kango, with a
Right.
book bag, with load,
Right.
with a skateboard. They was like, what the fuck is
Right.
going on? This
There's
is
so
weird.
many different weird
Yeah,
things
it was
happening
like,
in one
you're
moment.
a hybrid.
That's so
this
real.
is weird. And you're
That's so
skateboarding
real.
in the projects in the middle
Right.
of Marlboro. They're like, this is weird.
Right.
Whereas if now you are the norm.
Absolutely.
It's the norm.
That's a great outlook. So, and I will add this to you know,
Mm-hmm.
extend the conversation a bit. I have high respect for. I'm gonna go particularly to white people. I have high regard for white folks who do understand the culture,
Of course.
and really truly are like students of the game, whether or not they're practitioners
They've
or
been
not.
in the
So,
trenches
like,
and they put
Tony
the work in.
Doms, like
Yeah,
he
yeah.
got fat beat stories for days.
Right.
Going to the tunnel. I was too young for when the tunnel was popping, but
Yeah.
going to the tunnel partying,
Of course.
and all those popping spots in the late '90s, early 2000s.
Amazing
My homeboy
club, by the way.
Act One, who's also a Queens native or whatever.
Tunnel had a underground secret hidden room. It was the library
Oh,
room. You
shit.
used to like
See, I didn't
pull a
even know
book,
this.
and then the door opened.
That
up
was
or
a
something.
real life thing, huh?
Yeah, real life
I see.
thing,
I didn't
son.
know that.
And it was like the VIP
Right,
room.
right.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
dope. So
Super
yeah,
exclusive.
those white folks who are not culture vultures,
Right.
they exist, and I think they bring value to the culture because they support. They know how to interact with
Yeah,
folks, and then
yeah.
the ones who actually spit it, not all of them, but
Yep, yep.
I have several friends and colleagues who, when they spit it,
Amen.
they really treat the culture with care and understand
gloves.
what it means
Facts.
to be a white person in this
Yeah.
culture. So salute to them.
I'm a big fan. If you appreciate the culture, you're paying forward, you pay homage, you pay respects, you get the kudos in my book. Whether
Absolutely.
you're Asian, you know, when people are making a big deal
Exactly.
about China Mac, I'm like, but he's nice. I don't give a fuck if he's Chinese.
Right.
That's just the gimmick beyond the gimmick.
Right.
Same thing with Eminem. People
Right.
are like, oh, Eminem is white. Yeah, but he's nice.
Right.
I've seen Eminem dice through people.
Right.
No problem.
Right.
If you are talented, you're talented. It surpasses the gimmick,
Absolutely.
so to speak. You know
Absolutely.
what I mean? Again, we're gonna be wrapping up. We're doing our last little lap. I want to give people a quick little insight. I know you're busy. I know you got a lot of things going on.
Word.
Give people a little breakdown of things that we're working on, projects, shows, upcoming collabos, everything else.
Yeah, very succinct. So tonight we're gonna
Yeah.
be performing at Rusty Jux's party at Shuby's in Baldwin, Long Island.
Yep.
It's a fundraiser for Royal Flush.
Yep. Big
Queens.
fundraising event, no doubt.
OG, he's dealing with cancer, so
Yup.
get
Shout out to
well
the OG.
soon.
Shout out to
Royal
the OG.
Flush. Extra P, Large Professor gonna be DJing at the
Yup.
event. So shouts to everybody who's gonna be performing there tonight. March, moving ahead to March, we're gonna be shouts to Full Blast Booking. I've been touring with them for a little
Nice.
over a year now.
Shout out to the homies.
We're gonna be in the UK for 4 days touring, opening up for Rusty Jux.
Dope. Congratulations, brother.
Thank you. Really excited
Dope.
about that. My third country that I'll have performed in.
That is so
And then when
fresh.
we touch back down, March 21st, we'll be in Brooklyn. Full Blast is doing a 4-day tour with Amadeus.
All right.
And so I just got the ask today to be a part of the Brooklyn show, whatever. So, and then I should be hitting Cali in April, TBD, opening up for
Their
Pace
underground
One.
is dope out there, bro. The
I know
Cali
I've been to Cali,
underground
but
is
haven't
dope.
performed in Cali yet, and I know there's people there waiting to welcome me with open arms. So I'm looking forward
It's
to
so
that.
wild because everybody always says Brody, but I want to come to New York. I'm
Right.
like, nah, we want to go there.
Absolutely,
It's vice
absolutely.
versa, right?
Absolutely. So we cooking, and also the final thing I'll say is I got my 9th studio project in the mix right now. Shouts to my brother Cooley High. He produced the entire project. It's called
Whole
Life
project?
Be Lifin'. Yeah.
Nice.
9 tracks as of now. 8 or 9. I'm losing track. But yeah.
9 tracks.
So I'm looking forward to that. So yeah.
Fire.
Things are on the horizon.
My man's been working.
Absolutely.
Listen, for those that don't know, my man's been working. He's been busy. He's been grinding. For anyone that wants to do collabos with you, how do they get in contact?
IG is the best way to get a hold of me. SoSoon, one word, SOSOON. Yo, shouts to Cheers to the Real for spelling my name properly. It is one word.
Aight.
Both S's are uppercase, and you did your very, very bare minimum research
Yes, sir.
to spell it properly. I
Yes, sir.
appreciate that. You spelled it and pronounced it properly. So shouts to y'all. But yeah, SoSoon on IG is the best way to get a hold of me. If you want like links to videos, bio, EPK, all that shit. Solo.to/SoSoon is how you get all that stuff. So
my man is working. He's trying to work. Producers, artists, hit him up.
Absolutely.
He's ready.
Love
Next tour
collabing.
on deck.
Absolutely.
My brother, appreciate you.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you for coming
it's
up.
a pleasure. I'm glad we finally got to do this. A pleasure and honor to do this in Queens, New York.
Listen, my man is here. We rocking
Absolutely.
out with no fear. You know what it is. It's the one and only Tom Brody, original Long Wolf. Cheers to the Real podcast.
Thanks.
Art, music, culture. Stop playing. You know what it is. We love this shit out here. We love it. Lifestyle vibes. Cheers to the real. Yeah.
Screaming, cheers to the real. Good vibes only. Putting in work and recipes to all the homies. Yeah, money was the motive. Hood couldn't hold me. 100K made man, suckers looking phony. Yeah, cheers to the real. Good vibes only. Putting in work and recipes to all